Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to be repainting one of these cheap Jason masks. This video will be a tutorial in case you want to get one of these for yourself and repaint it so you can have a cool mask for Halloween or just for your collection. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to reshape the mask. For this, I'm using a heating gun. If you don't have a heating gun, you can also use a blow dryer. We're just going to go ahead and heat the top of the mask for about 2 minutes. Just be careful not to burn or melt the plastic. We just want to heat it up until it gets soft. After heating up the mask, I'm just going to put it into the freezer for about a minute so the cold temperature can harden the plastic. I'm just pushing down on it with my hand so we can get that round shape that we want. After putting it into the freezer, I put some weight on top of it and let it sit for about 30 minutes to make sure the plastic was completely cooled off. As you can see, our process worked really well, and now we have a nice shape to the mask. So now we're going to sand down the mask. I have these scrub buddies that I got at the Dollar Tree. You can also use a fine sandpaper for this. I went ahead and sped this part up so you don't have to watch the whole thing. We're just going to go ahead and scrub down the mask really well. Then just go ahead and wipe off all that dust with a paper towel. And so there we have it. Our mask is reshaped and sanded down, and now we're ready for the next step. I'm just going to take a dry erase marker and I'm going to start drawing some extra holes on the mask that we're going to drill out. So there we have our mask with our extra holes drawn, and the mask looks pretty similar to how it does in the movies, except that we have a couple extra holes, but that's okay because I like the way it looks, and this mask isn't supposed to be any particular mask, it's just the concept. So now I'm just trying to see what size the holes are on the mask, that way we can make our new holes the same size. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark the size that I need to use with my dry erase marker. So we're going to go ahead and start drilling the mask. I'm using this Black & Decker drill that I got at Walmart for about 20 bucks. The drill piece that I'm using is a Uni-Bit by Irwin. Now before I started drilling, I made some small holes with an X-Acto knife, and as you can see, it's really helping the drill to go through very smoothly. Now I did forget to draw a hole for the nose, so just make sure you drill that out. So now we have our mask all drilled out, and I'm just going to go ahead and sand it down one more time to get rid of any excess plastic that we might have created during the drilling process. And there we have our beautiful mask, reshaped, sanded down, and drilled out. And now it's ready for the next step. Alright, so now we're going to spray paint our base coat onto the mask. I'm using this color by Krylon. If you don't have this color, it's not a big deal. You can just use a white spray paint. Now, I am an idiot, so I'm spraying this inside my house, but obviously you should do this outside. So if you're not really experienced with spray painting, all I can tell you is make sure you shake the can really well, and when you're spraying, don't spray too close to the mask. You run the risk of spraying too much paint and it's gonna look like crap. You want to hold the can a little bit far away from the mask and spray a nice light coat. I would usually let this dry and then do a second coat, but since this is just a quick tutorial, I'm just going to do this once. Alright, so I let the mask dry, and now we're going to move on to our next step. So now I'm just going to take this X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to make light scratches all over the mask. Just be careful, don't go too crazy and cut the mask too deep or cut your fingers. Just be careful and do these scratches all over the mask. Alright, so now that we're done with that, I have this little cup of water, and we're just going to pour a few drops of this black paint into it, just like that. And I'm also going to pour a few drops of this brown paint as well. Then we're just going to mix that all up. As you can see, I'm already making a mess. Just be careful not to get this stuff all over the place. So make sure you have some paper towels for this part. I would recommend getting some that don't have any pattern on them. So we're just going to go ahead and start brushing that stuff all over the mask. Then go ahead and start patting off that paint with a paper towel. I would suggest doing this patting motion because it leaves behind a texture that we want, since the mask is supposed to look dirty. And now you can see all those little scratches that we made. So real quick, I'm just going to spray some of this matte clear enamel onto the mask just to protect what we've done to the mask so far. And again, you just want to do a nice light coat. So now we're going to add the chevrons to the mask. These are the red marks on Jason's mask. Now I do have a machine to print out stickers for this, but I know not everybody has a machine to print out stickers, so we're going to paint them on instead. So as you can see, I just put some masking tape on the mask to create these shapes. And then I'm just going to take some red paint and paint in our shapes. So this paint's looking kind of thin, so I'm going to paint my shapes, let them dry, and then paint them again. So after painting our shapes, I let them dry, and then I took the tape off. And now we have our chevrons. So now I'm taking a large brush with a little bit of brown paint, and I'm just going to dab it all over the edges of the mask. Make sure that the brush is dry. And now I'm going to use a smaller brush with a little bit of brown paint, and I'm going to dab it over all the holes. So now back to the bigger brush. I'm just going to dab some more paint on areas that look too clean. So I mixed a little bit of black paint with our brown paint to get a darker color, and now I'm just going to dab that over certain areas like the right side of the forehead. When you're painting these concept Jason masks, I feel like it helps to get a little bit creative and come up with scenarios that might have happened to the mask. For example, I'm making some little smudges. Maybe somebody hit him with something, or something scraped against his mask. Okay, so I'm gonna call this done. It's not the best paint job, but it's just an example for you guys. Okay, so now I'm gonna add a little bit of blood splatter. What I'm using to do this is a plastic straw that I cut some lines into to create bristles, just like this. And I'm also using blood paint from Fierce City Creations. You can find him on Facebook, but if you don't have fake blood, you can just use red paint. So I'm going to dip my straw into the blood and flick it with my finger, just like this, to create blood splatter. I don't want to add too much blood because I think it looks tacky. I want it to be kind of subtle. Alright, so there's our mask painted up, and now we're ready for the final step. So you can just leave the straps that came with the mask, but if you want to make your own, you're going to need some of this black elastic material. I got this from Joann's Fabrics. They also sell it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. It comes in a little roll. You're going to need two pieces. One going across the top of your head and one going across the sides of your head. So you're going to need to measure that out. Now these little things are called snap fasteners, and you can find these also at Joann's Fabrics or Michael's or Hobby Lobby. They should be around all the sewing stuff. So as you can see, we have some weird openings on this mask that we're going to have to deal with. So we're going to go ahead and take one end of our side strap and put it through that first line in the mask, just like this. I tried my best to get this on camera so you guys don't get lost. If this is confusing, I do apologize. Okay, so there's our strap, and you're going to want it just like this. Now, as you remember, there's 3 little openings on the mask, so I'm going to take some sharp pliers, and I'm going to make a hole right through the middle opening, right there. So there is a tool to make holes, but I'm just using these pliers right now. So after making our hole, we're going to go ahead and take the long piece of the snap fastener and we're going to put it through the hole that we just made. So we put it through and you can see it sticking out right there. Now you're going to take this little flat piece and you're going to put it over the long piece just like that. Now these little snap fasteners, they come with this tool. This thing right here. You're going to want to go ahead and put this inside of the little tube just like that. So after you have that in place, set it down on a hard surface and you are going to need a hammer. So take your hammer and give it a good 3 or 4 hits. So that's going to seal those 2 metal pieces together, and now one side of our strap is attached. And if any of my Jason mask making friends are watching this, I realize this isn't how you usually do straps on a Jason mask, but since I had these weird openings to work with, this is how I did it. So anyway, we're going to do the same thing that we just did, but on the other side. So put the strap through the mask like last time. So then we're going to make another hole. And then we're going to put the snap fastener through like last time. And then we're going to take the flat piece again, put it through, hammer that together, and now we have our side strap complete. So as you probably guessed, we're going to do the same exact thing with the top of the mask. So now we're going to go ahead and finish the top strap. So we're going to take the other end and wrap it around the side strap just like this. So we're going to end up closing this together. We're going to close it right there, and it's going to be able to slide around just like that. So for this, we're going to be using these little rivets. You should be able to find these around the snap fasteners in that sewing section. These come in different colors and different sizes, so just try to get some that look like these. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little pliers and I'm going to make a hole right there. So as you can see, the hole should be going through both pieces of the strap. So after we make our hole, we're going to take this long piece of rivet and we're going to stick it through the hole that we just made. Okay, so now our rivet is through and you can see it sticking out right there. So now we're going to take this little flat piece and we're going to snap those two pieces together. Then you're going to need some pliers and we're going to close them for good. So just go ahead and shut those together. And there you go, so now our rivet is closed for good, and we're going to do the same exact thing, but on the other side. So again, we're going to make a little hole right there, put the rivet through, put the little cap on, snap them together, and then shut them with the pliers. And so now we have our straps completed, and now our mask is done. So I forgot to do this in the video, but you're going to want to go ahead and do one more light coat of sealer on the mask to protect it. And you should be able to clean off the paint on the inside of the mask pretty easily. So I put the mask on this Freddy vs. Jason hood, and I think it looks really cool. I'm really happy with the way it came out. Thank you so much if you watched this video all the way through. I had a lot of fun making this, and I hope that it helped or inspired you in some way. I am planning to give this away, so I should be uploading a video on that soon. If you want to see more of these videos, please like and subscribe so I know that you want to see more of this content. Again, thank you for watching.